There we are. What up? What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Blood Splatter
Okay.
Chatter. Verno and the Missing Link with you. Big Stu Pak Shakur is going to be joining us in just a little bit. Parent teacher night over in Virginia for my man. But we are here tonight. This is the Missing Links pick for Horror Fest 2025. We're going to be talking Jeepers Creepers from 2001, baby. It's kind of funny. This is a weird place to start. Pop, pop, boom. Pop culture philosophers, the homie Robbie, who is doing Curse of Frankenstein right when we wrap up here, right at 8 o'clock Central Time. And same thing, brother. I had not seen this movie, I don't think, until I got together with my wife, who is 10 years my senior. So it's more in her wheelhouse. I'm 41. She's 31. Lake, you're 35, right? I'll just say yes.
I'm all fingers. Sorry, I'm 37, but I appreciate that.
Okay. I would have guessed 32 just by the little second. But here's kind of, and there's a lot of, first of all, we're going to dig into the controversy surrounding Victor Salva. We're going to get into all that. But just for starters, kind of the same for me as I look at my mic is running hot, baby, is that for whatever reason, when this came out in 2001, like where horror was at, I took one look at it. I was like, lame. Fuck lame. Look at this guy. Look at this fucking clown jumping over cars in the previews. Like, okay, buddy. Like, it just did not pique my interest at all. So where we were for horror, we hadn't had a supernatural killer in a slasher movie like this since, like, Freddy's Dead a handful of years before, New Nightmare, shit like that. Even scarier than all that would be, oh wait, no, I can't bring him in. No, it's about to work well. Stu's here, but it won't let me bring you in for some reason, homie. But I'll get to that in a second. But for whatever reason, it just seemed super corny at the time. After Scream, and it's kind of a way that Scream ruined the slasher. They talked about it so much. It was so self-referential to the genre that it was kind of corny to try to make a earnest slasher after it. So I don't think I watched it. I just thought it looked lame, didn't watch it. It was like, whatever, that's for the kids. And then years later, my wife is like, you got to check this thing out as we bring in Big Stu, my dude.
What up, fellas? How we doing?
Chilling, man. I'm glad you got here before we really dug into the meat and potatoes of this thing. But anyway, so the first time that I ever watched it with her, if I'm keeping it real, there's a little bit of me being a contrarian the whole time and just being like, oh, okay. So I'm watching it through that lens, to be perfectly honest with you. And I know I say this all the time, but this is the most I've ever enjoyed this movie, like by far. We were supposed to do it last Thursday, so I watched it twice leading up to that. And then today I'm like, screw it. I just threw it on again, and I watched it again, and I get it. I totally get what the way that it kind of like, it has this tone, this like pulpy tone. It's like kind of over the top, kind of corny, but it knows it's corny. Mm-hmm. It's talking about what's shit that's going on in the movie as a horror fan would talk about it. But it just hit me. But anyway, while it's doing that, it's also creepy. Like, I find this like one of the scarier slasher movies, and just us coming off the road to Halloween thing, really interesting to look at it in that perspective of like, this was the slasher villain that I kind of missed out on in the early 2000s, post Ghostface, and just like where he fits in, which we can dig into as we go into like the history of the slasher, the evolution of the slasher. Pretty fucking interesting, honestly. But before I send it to you guys, what up to the chat? Appreciate all you guys in here. Jace Hurd, pop, boom, pop culture philosophers, road collecting, my man SoCal Dan.
What up, y'all?
Bitch. Appreciate you guys being here. And just quick announcement, man, because we're coming up on it. We are just a few days away. We're talking The Howling. We're playing some trivia. I'm setting up some pretty fun little trivia segments. I really enjoy doing those. And the winner in the chat is going to have their option. Here, I'll blow myself up. On Thursday, the winner of the trivia in the chat gets either this Jason mask, this Jason mask. So we got a part 4, and we have a part 3 for you to choose from. Or if that's not your bag, if that's not your thing, I have a Saw NECA figure with the ultimate jigsaw. So you get the little fella on the bike and the other guy, which I should know. Nice. John Kramer. I know his name now. But so I'm super excited about that. Just watch The Howling. Well, that's the wrong button. Watch The Howling last night. Then I watched all the special features. And the special features and the Blu-ray get me like so excited to rewatch the movie again. Like I enjoyed it, but now I'm like I'm already in love with the movie going back in after the special features. But that was a mouthful. Missing link. Let's just start there. You guys, let's dig into the controversy first. You guys good with that? I kind of think we kind of have.
Sure.
You guys know I'm not the biggest on like. I don't think it's always necessary. Like, oh my god, this guy said something sexist 20 years ago. We need to start with that. Like, I don't really give a fuck. But there's certain occasions, there's certain crimes that people don't forgive, obviously. So Victor Salva, who's the director of Jeepers Creepers 1, 2, 3, and mind-blowingly Powder. Do you guys know he did Powder?
Yes.
I saw that.
That fucked me up.
That tripped me out too.
That hurt me a lot worse than knowing that a
because that was like the weird bad movie I formed an emotional connection with that I can't quite explain. Like,
yeah.
We all did.
Because he's like a young mutant. He's like a young mutant, bro. Like like Caliban or some shit like that. And it's so it was easy to connect with that as a kid and to find out like the dark, I guess backstory it carries.
Right.
Legacy.
Well, let's get into that. This is something I didn't know for the longest time until pretty recently. But basically, back in 1988, he was convicted of 2 crimes. He had groomed this. The way they say it, he had groomed this 12-year-old boy who was, I think, the lead in his first movie, Clown House.
Yeah,
that came out in '89. The way they say it, he groomed the kid and the kid's family, whatever the fuck that means. And then he was convicted of child molestation, and he filmed it. So whatever the charge is for that, child pornography, child molestation. So about as serious as you can get. And like, I don't know, you guys tell me, but if he had murdered somebody, crazy drunk night, and he just killed a man on the streets, and it's 30 years later or whatever it is now, like coming up on 40 years later, I would be far more forgiving than this is like the crime that people really don't move on from unless you're in Hollywood. Evidently, unless you're Francis Ford fucking Coppola, which is the really surprising thing, because that was his he is supposedly Francis Ford Coppola's protege, and he was the producer of Clown House. He was, I think, the producer of Powder and the producer of all 3 Jeepers Creepers. All of this happened. He was defending him kind of the whole time.
Yeah, he did. Didn't he like write letters to the court or something?
Yeah, I don't know the
like
specifics, but he's backed him the whole time, which is whatever. I'm not here to trash him because that's less of a crime than what dude did. But it's still kind of weird. And it's just one of those things that it feels like we have to address it. It's we're going to be addressing it again when we do Rosemary's Baby with guy's name is slipping my mind right now.
Oh, Polanski, Roman Polanski.
Yeah.
Really, really similar thing there.
I mean,
but
go ahead. No, I was just gonna say, I guess this is like the ultimate unforgivable crime because you got Polanski, and then I was gonna bring up Matthew Broderick, but that wasn't even like it wasn't like malicious intent. He was it wasn't like drunk driving. He was just an error.
Yeah,
I thought he got charged like I believe it was like a man. He killed like
vehicular manslaughter.
Yeah.
See, that's what I'm saying. That shit happens and we get over it. But this is the one. And part of the reason I think is, and maybe not everybody knows this, but from what I've read and what I've heard, that's something like if you are the type to do that, there's no therapy that's going to heal you. You are a pedophile. That's how you are fucking wired. There's no coming back from it. So this guy, it is worth pointing out, he has had no crimes or convictions since then. So it is I don't want to sound like I'm defending the guy at all, but it is interesting that it is almost 40 years later and it's still has to be addressed. Like you just can't, you know what I mean? Like
and if you put that shit on tape, that's a wrap. Right? Like, you know what I mean? Right. It's just like there's no wiggle room with that, and it's despicable on every level. So it's like,
I was gonna say it's already despicable, but it's like with the context of the filming makes it that much more. It's already foul, and that makes it seem that much more foul to begin with. But
it's crazy to see, like you said, like Coppola, people defend him, and it's, I don't know, man, it's wild because I'm always conflicted with the whole judgment of creator and versus the works of art, because I feel like so many of the works of art that I love are done from questionable human beings, but at the same time I feel like the works of art from creator to creation, whatever it is, represent some of the best of what we have to offer. I think as human beings and as humanity as a whole, I think like our ability to create art and really reflect on like the human experience in that way, I think is profound and something like we should never take for granted. So in that way, there's something like, you know, and you also think about Justin Long and like all the other performances, like the psychic lady, all the other people who like fucking really turned in amazing performances in this movie, like worked hard on it and really helped bring the vision to life. So it's, I don't know, man, it's conflicted. Like you're always trying to walk that fine line between you know, wanting to condemn what you see as a deplorable and despicable act, but also celebrate a you know, a viable, vibrant piece of art that has entertained you for a couple of decades now. So it's like, I don't know, it's hard to find the in-between ground when it's something so explicit and fucked up. Yeah.
You bringing up the cast, it's, you know, shockingly, like the Clown House, I think it was called. That's Sam Rockwell's first movie. You know.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, I saw that he was interesting. I mean, that's part of it. As I'm reading into this, I'm like, hell, maybe we should dig into that. I'm like, wait, no, like we don't need to go that far. Like, you know what I mean? I'm probably not touching that one. And honestly, I don't know how keen. Whatever. I was gonna say I don't know how keen I would be to do the sequels, but maybe I would. The other thing I was gonna say is like, I totally get it if someone says like fuck that. I've never watched that movie. I would I would never watch that movie, and I would understand definitely like content creators. I know certain people think Dead Meat is like I can't stomach it.
Yeah.
They're like a super popular horror podcast on YouTube. They have announced like we will never fucking cover that. And I respect that totally too. That's your prerogative. So it is, we talked about it ahead of time, the three of us, and we're like, well, the conversation in itself is interesting to have. And then plus, honestly, after watching the movie, again, we're rewatching it through this lens or whatever, I respect the movie more. So it's like, okay, this is like a classic, just like what like Stu, I think you were saying on your show recently. Like I do view it as that now, 24 years down the road. Like I see why it is considered by so many as a classic. It's not, there's something different about it. And it is a little like, it's less sleazy than like the 80s horror movies that we grew up on. But so was Scream and all the movies that came before it in the 90s. And that's the other thing, is this is right between that, where like things are about to get really fucking sleazy, because this is right before 9/11. And then after this, we get Hostel and Rob Zombie and Saw.
Yeah.
It's a weird
turns, right.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
It is. Go ahead.
But,
no,
I was going to send it to Link if you just wanted to get into the film. If you have anything else to say on this point, obviously, go ahead.
No, yeah, that it is. It's like you said. It's a weird middle ground where it's like totally understandable if people don't want to engage with this because of the backstory of the creator, the director. But at the same time, like, you know, I think about like, it's a terrible example, but it's like, it is in certain cases, it is important to separate art from the creator, you know. Like, what if someone like Quentin Tarantino was revealed to be just a foul motherfucker? You know, how would that? People love Quentin Tarantino films, but how would they would? I imagine they would feel conflicted. You know.
Right. Well, don't you think like Michael Jackson is the prime example, because it's the same accusations, but we're talking about the king of pop. You know what I mean? Somebody like I grew up idolizing. You know what I mean? He's Michael Jackson.
Yeah, one of the
He's not Victor Salva or the Creeper or whatever. But I mean, that's a perfect example. There's so many people. Like, I'll just use myself as an example. I've always been, I'm not watching that fucking documentary. I don't want to know about that. I don't know. I don't want to touch that. Like, because it's Michael Jackson. So it really does depend on the quality of the art. It's just separating it. So many people are pieces of shit. I love John Lennon. Then you find all these terrible things about John Lennon. Everybody. So it's like, I don't know. And even not just entertainers, but like political figures of the past and leaders, and just everybody has a dark history, or could have a dark history.
But at the same time, I guess, you know, when I don't want to say like this is like the ultimate bad history to have. So it's like, I guess this is when it's really, it's more understandable, I guess, when people have like, I'm not going to touch that because of the backstory that it involves with, as opposed to like Matthew Broderick in his case, you know.
Right.
It is pretty dark, but yeah, let's roll into this movie.
Yeah, no, okay. Yeah, so you're 37 now. So what were you like? You're like 15 or something like that when this came out?
I was like a little over a month of being 13. I think this came out like August of 2021. And I went and saw it with my uncle on a whim. Didn't know shit about it. I mean, maybe I'd seen trailers, but it wasn't like I wasn't the biggest horror fan when I was younger, so it wasn't something I was like, yeah, I can't wait to see that. Mm-hmm. My uncle actually would put me onto a lot more movies, like Planet of the Apes. I had seen. He took me to see the Marky Mark one. And you know, he's like, yeah, Dick, there's the nickname. He's like, yeah, Dick, there's a whole series before this that this is kind of spun off of. And so he kind of introduced me to the OGs. But he used to always kind of take me to see cool little sci-fi movies, horror movies here and there. But this was one he took me to see. And I feel like this was the last time I was genuinely scared at a movie. Where it's like when I walked out of the theaters, bro, I was like, no, I can't be creeped out about shit, bro. Because if he gets a whiff of that, or a creature like that exists and gets a whiff of that, I'm donezo, man. But you know, it just had me in my head about conquering fear and shit. Like, you know, don't let fear take a hold of you. But yeah, I thought it was cool just because it's like it's a road trip movie, and it's in that little sweet spot where it's like it's a modern but not so modern, where it's like when they're like lost and shit or having a car. Nowadays there's no excuse. You can fucking cell phone somebody or Bluetooth. It's everything is, you know. But with this one, it's like it's that weird sweet spot we were talking about where it was not so, it wasn't like the 80s or the 90s. It was somewhat modern, but it wasn't that modern. It's in that weird sweet spot of technology.
Right. It's like it modernized the 80s type of slasher villain. This motherfucker just say his nickname was Dick?
I don't know why my uncle said his nickname. But,
I love that.
And you know
that slide by here, bro.
I can be a bit of a one, but the story kind of resonated with me as well personally, just because you know, sibling wise, it's just my sister and I, you know. Right. So it's like a lot of that banter going on between Justin Long and I hate that I don't know the actress's name. No. And his sister, the co-actor. You know, I felt that, you know, I was like, man, bro, yeah, my sister would be annoying as fuck if I was, you know. And I always appreciate family aspect in horror, you know, like when we talked about Hills Have Eyes, even the remake, that's one of the bigger draws to me, because it's like, sad to say, certain friends, it's easy to be like, survival of the fittest, you know, but family, you're more likely to kind of lay yourself on the line, you know, or kind of question moments like that.
Right. And it's well done in this one.
Yeah.
Yes. It's not over the top with a pounding it down to your brain, but it's there from the beginning of the film to the very end of the film, this like bond that they have, which is cool. And there's even something going on in the background with their parents that they're kind of hashing out that you can read into that too.
No, I've seen this numerous times and I didn't really pay attention.
Well, it's just like they're bringing up the mom being depressed, and it almost seems like maybe the dad's a dick. Just like the way they're talking about it, there's something at the home life is everything isn't honky dory at home. There's something wrong with the mom, and it might be the dad's fault. Is what I picked up on. I don't know,
but no, the design, like the creature is. I found him to be a lot cooler when I was younger, but there's certain aspects of rewatching it where I was like, it looks a little cheesy, like this big ass head, and he's just, you know. And then the more I think about it, it's like, why is he just driving around? Like, who taught him to drive? Like, you know, why is he not just flying around at all times? Right. You know, but the movie has like it's just a cool like road trip horror movie, you know, and it's got an intriguing premise that it's not done to the best. It's not an amazing film, but there's something there. And I feel like the creature, the idea of the creature could be developed more in like more capable hands if someone were to ever want to take this. It'd be a weird one because I don't think anyone's really eager to jump at taking this IP away from Salva.
Someone did it. I mean, someone else did Reborn.
The fourth one.
It's one of the worst movies I've ever seen. By the way.
Damn, dude.
Terrible movie.
That's really rough.
But yeah, this is it's one I've always appreciated. This is probably one I don't want to say watch annually, but it's one I've seen quite a few times, and it's just a nice little nostalgia horror film for me.
I could see what my wife said recently, like I could watch that over and over and over again. And like watching it a few times this fucking week, I totally see why. Like it flows really, really well. It kind of flies by. It's an easy watch that you don't have to like think about too much. But Stu,
it's like an hour 30 on the dot.
Right.
I think.
What's your history and how was the rewatch?
History is I loved it back in the day, and rewatch was the same, dude. I think it's a great film from like the beginning with the unsolved mysteries inspired intro, you know what I mean, to this brother and sister dynamic that feels very believable and that you find yourself really, you know, invested in by the time the movie's over, to the creature design. The creature design is A1 to me. I love it in every aspect. I love the fingerprints, the dead skin, and just like the scene when they run over it and the wing pops out and it's flapping. And, man, you don't know what the fuck this thing is. And you still don't there at the end of the police station. And when it finally flaps his face open, you're like, what the fuck? It's just, it's like you said, dude, it's creepy. It's unnerving. It's scary. Like when he's down there in the hole and he uncovers that cathedral of bodies. It's like, you know, there's so many great moments. And I love the creepy song. You know, kind of driving through it. And then, you know, I think it's really held together by like, you know, these great performances. Justin Long does a great job. Homegirl who plays the psychic just like outperforms that role. Like
she is
unbelievable. Like that role is just garbage. Like really, when you look at it, I feel like if you just looked at it on paper, you'd be like, this is fucking ridiculous.
It's that trope whose name I don't like to say.
She reminded me
sounds racist. It's the magical black person trope to like the nth degree. At one point, she's about to sacrifice her life for these people she just met, and she's magical. Dude, she has nothing to do but help white people.
She gets introduced to the diner telephone. She randomly calls the fucking phone and like,
did they? Yeah. She knew they would be there.
The thing is so hard to buy from the beginning, but like once you get her in person, man, and that emotion she like brings to it is. It's incredible. It really is. Like there's that one part where she looks so scared about her like knowing that something bad is coming but not knowing exactly what it is.
Right.
It's just so I was blown away.
Jace got a great point. Says for some reason the scene where the creeper whistles made me realize he had intelligence more than him driving. Totally. Maybe not intelligence, but some kind of humanity. Like he used to be human, or I don't know what you learn in the sequels. But I kind of like not knowing. You know what I mean? I don't have an issue with what we learn at the end of this one, but the way that it ends, and we'll get to it, like it makes you think, oh, for sure there's going to be more. They'll explain more in the sequel.
And they took their time, like revealing. That's what I loved about it. Like, I think one of the first big reveals is that scene when they're in the car and you see him behind. Like, you don't get the full force. He's just like back there fucking up the policeman. It's great how they make you work for it. You know what I mean? I love that about this.
It's like 47 minutes before you really get a good look at him.
Oh, no shit.
Something like that.
Awesome.
Yeah. I think that's when you get a first kill too, which is
yeah, that's great. They do it. They pace it really, really excellent.
Right. Well, they mix up the scares. It's not like a straight slasher movie. Kill. There's not even like, how about that one kill? You know what I mean? There's the cop that gets his head cut off, another cop that gets a hole blown through his back, but it's
more about that suspense.
Right.
Yes, dude. When he's down there in that house of pain, and when he's you're right on there close with him, and you see something in the background. At first, you think it's the creature, and it's going to be moving or something, and then the like slow reveal that it's bodies on bodies. Like it's just so well done. I love the way they fuck with your expectations there.
Totally. I kind of already said my overall, but like I kind of wanted to get into. Or not even have to get into it, but just the first 30 minutes. That first 30 minutes, I think, is fucking brilliant. Especially if you forgive, and everybody that watches this movie, if you want to enjoy the movie, you have to forgive him going back there and going into the hole. Because it is one of the like
why would you do that
stupidest moves in horror history, but they know it and they call it out, which kind of makes it easier to forgive that. But just like the first 30 minutes, you've got them two in the car before anything happens, and how much like character building that you get just from that little bit right there. Their little games that they're playing with the license plate. They've got the name calling game and just that shit. And then like when the creeper shows up in the truck, iconic as fuck, creepy. Like it is intense and scary. And then, like you said, like going back to the hole, like there's something really. It kind of reminded me of Barbarian to a degree, which is weird because Justin Long is in it. About them, like once he's down in the hole, there's just something about the dynamic of him being in the hole and her being at top, and they're both vulnerable in these two different ways. That is like so cool to me, and it's also so stupid because Justin Long's like, go wait out by the road for someone to come by, and if you see him come back, you come and yell at me. What are you gonna do? You're in this fucking hole.
You're stuck.
How are you possibly gonna help?
Like during that scene, I was half waiting for her, like on the rewatch, because I didn't remember. Like I was half waiting for her to get nabbed or grabbed or something like that.
I love the fake out.
Like I love when she's on the road. Yes, I loved it too.
The hate truck,
yeah, it's so good.
It's one of those things like you could, and I could see myself watching this movie with my wife a few years ago, and like not being that into it. And when that scene happens, you could easily not appreciate a lot of things about the opening of the movie, and that goes for I guess any horror movie. If you're locked in, you're going to feel the scares more. But that scene in particular was like it really hit me how intense it was. Like get in the car, the fact that she's driving stick, grinding those gears and shit, like that added a lot to the movie for sure.
This is a little further, but just to speak on like just them selling the scenes, like the context seemed a little corny, but the acting saved it. It was like when they're in the diner and Justin Long's like exploding at the police officer, and shit like that. Like some of it seemed a little cheesy looking at it now. I never questioned it as a kid,
right?
But the content, I don't know. They were just able to sell it so well, like the intense, the serious, like bro, something crazy just happened to us, and you guys don't seem to be believing us. Was like the gist of the emotion he was like in that. The dialogue was a little cheesy, but Justin Long's emotion in that scene was able to save it. His acting ability.
For sure.
Real quick, did you get the psychic? She reminds you guys of the Oracle from Matrix.
Yes. And I think I'm just figuring it out now because the whole time I'm like, do I know her?
Same.
Great call. Yeah.
And bro, there might have been and probably not, definitely not. I'm reaching here, but the scene where she's in the police station and Jeepers Creepers, Jeeper, whatever the fuck it's called, and she's like looking around and he like appears behind her. Kind of reminiscent of the Alien Earth scene where the cyborg dude first encountered the xenomorph, and the xenomorph tore up all those fucking soldiers and shit, and just was like behind him, smelling him and shit.
That's so weird that he didn't kill her. You know what I mean? Like because he killed a bunch of those cops and didn't necessarily eat body parts of them, but it was like I don't know.
They were threats. They were trying to attack him. I guess to shout out to the creature's intelligence, like I guess. And once again, though, I was like, I don't know if she wasn't scared, and maybe he smelled specific things. Oh, when do you guys think he wanted Justin Long? By the way, like, do you think there was a certain moment in the movie where he's like,
I want that eyeballs? He felt it's something about the eyeballs. Obviously, he fell in love with. I don't know what it was, bro. But before we move on, that jailhouse, him eating dude in the jail cell was one of the creepiest things.
Yes,
like the sounds he was making.
Oh, while the other guys are.
So good, good.
Just his naked body view, just the look of him. Stu, you said it really well. Just like all the different looks that you get of the creeper, because like I don't know, even I was always like he looks kind of lame to me, but he also looks like super cool at the same time. And you get if you don't like one version, just wait. He's gonna change a little bit. He's gonna grow wings. He's gonna have scales. There's something about like his face that looks like fake. You know what I mean? It doesn't look natural. It looks like
it's proportional to his body.
I like how they played with that with the scarecrow thing, and they played with that in number 2 too. But like it was dope here, like with that lady and shit.
So I guess he is like a scarecrow brought to life, a demon scarecrow in a way.
I think she's in the sequel. So I'm looking it up. I'm looking. Do you know Link?
She might have been in a flashback in the second one, or
it says she's in. It says she's in Jeepers Creepers too. Who knows what that means though? Because sometimes you can't trust what it says on here. But I know in the third one, the sister makes a cameo, so she's not in the second one, but she does make a cameo. She's not the star of the third one, and that was in 2017. Which, by the way, that was after Me Too kicked in, and like I guess like every time a sequel released, like. The controversy would flare up again, but in 2017 it flared up like a motherfucker with the internet and the Me Too movement
yeah.
behind it. So that was kind of, which is why he wasn't part of the fourth one, I would assume. And he really hasn't done anything since.
So was he a part of 2 and 3?
Yeah, he directed and I think wrote 2 and 3. Yeah.
When did he get convicted and jailed for all this shit?
1988.
Right, like so everything. Yeah, so Powder, everything was done after he was.
After the fact.
Everything.
Yeah.
That's pretty much everything he's ever done. Because I think, like we said, that Clown House was his first movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it just makes you wonder how many folks in Hollywood have that going on off the books. You know what I mean? Like with Weinstein and God knows, however many other powerful people, power players, and all that short shit. It's just wild.
I wonder if there's a list somewhere.
Oh,
maybe like an Epstein file of some sort.
A magical list.
Here we go.
But because of Powder, bro, that was a stacked movie. Not to go to wasn't Goldblum in that?
So
yeah,
I love that
bro.
movie.
Like Sean Patrick Flannery, like
I did adore it. The other thing, and Link said this to you talking about the Creeper, is his whole he's very Pennywise. He's a lot of different things, but like Pennywise comes back, I think it's every 27 years. This dude comes back every 23 years. Pennywise feeds on children's fear. This guy has to scare you, to smell you, to know if he likes you, which is pretty much to answer your question that you said earlier, Link. That's what I assume is he drives up down the highway. He scares the shit out of people. And then while he's driving behind them, he's sniffing. And that's when he picks up if you got anything that he likes. And that's his MO. That's why I think like the cheerleader that he found, or the people that they knew, you know what I mean? The cheerleader that they found down in the hole that they'd heard of from their hometown, that was like 20 years ago, 100 miles away on the same road. So that's what I imagine. He just goes up and down like long stretches of highway, scaring and sniffing, and then he picks what he likes and then brings it back to that.
Would he had Justin Long not going down that fucking tube that because he sideswiped them before they went down the tube, like had they kept driving, was he's gonna come back and harass? See, me personally, I think it was I think he had gotten it was when Justin Long went down that tube and he saw the dead bodies and he fucking shit himself. That's he maybe left an aroma of fear down there.
He left it sit down there.
Definitely.
Yes,
because then he came back and he sniffed his undies and he liked it.
Dude, I saw something like they hired dude off of the audition just off the sniff test. They did like a sniff scene and like dude just went all out for
the
it.
Creeper? The actor
Jesus Christ.
It's the same guy in like 1, 2, and 3.
3, yes, 1, 2, and 3.
And like I saw a little clip of it, like him doing the sniff scene on. It was wild.
That's hilarious. How'd you get the role?
He left it all out there.
I like the crows too. They know another thing they don't explain. I don't need them to explain it, but I just like the association with crows. That's why it was a great pick for Horror Fest, because it's got that fall kind of scarecrowy vibe. It fits the season really, really well. And it, like I said, man, it is scary. There's a couple moments that I can think of that kind of freaked me out. First of all, just the idea of him going down in the hole and those two separated, like I said. But like when there's a jump scare where he lands on their hood, that really got me. And then there's even a moment in the police precinct where he's like on the side of the wall, like, and he pokes around the corner.
Yes, I hate that scene. Because it's like he's toying with people. Like that's just such a creepy fucking thing to do in general.
I do it to my kid. I freak out doing that all the time. Dude, here's the other thing. Like when he's doing this, it really got me thinking. Like, why is he so? Well, just another one to mention. It's just, first of all, like one of my wife's scariest scenes of all time, she says, is when you first see him and he's dumping the bodies in there, and then he turns around and he kind of follows their car. And then I can't help but be a dick. But I tell you what, the actress's cross-eyed fucking ruins it for me. Because then it's like, ooh, that's freaky. And then you turn around and she's sitting there and fucking one of her eyes looking at the ceiling. And you're like, take two. Like, you really couldn't have done that. You know what I mean? Not her fault, but that's a directorial issue. But I didn't
notice that. I got to be honest, I didn't notice it.
Dude.
Yo, so we kind of talked about this beforehand. Not backchat, but briefly, Verno, about I almost feel like this is the director like making an analogy on himself, like because the Jeeper is a predator. You know,
Creeper.
It's the creeper.
Even,
yeah,
even more
he's
perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like the way the creeper goes about like hunting down his victims, and it's like the based off of fear and chooses the weakest, the less likely to put up a fight, I guess, based off like the sister's last stand.
Well, the sister was saying, "I'm stronger, take me." Like maybe he wants the stronger one, but she doesn't fucking know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, obviously, she was wrong. Yeah.
I have a theory.
Justin Long, she never lost. If you kind of look at it throughout many of the scenes, like this is why I maybe say Justin Long was Dunzo when he went into the cave, because she didn't see that shit, so she didn't have the trauma that he might have incurred.
Right.
But she was a little bit more. He was a little bit more hysterical.
Yes.
And understandably, you know, than she was throughout the scene. So I feel like she, and I don't, was he was a little brother?
I got, that's the vibe I got.
That's the vibe. Okay. Same.
Yeah.
But if, you know, with that, I feel like, you know, the baby is kind of, the youngest is kind of always protected, and it's the oldest that goes through trials and tribulations, and the younger it learns from that, you know. Right. So they're babies in a lot of ways. So I feel like she, you know, she probably was the strongest, because she seemed, I mean, once again, I don't know, because she didn't have that traumatic event, seeing those fucking dead bodies plastered to the wall. Right. But I don't know. I do think that it's I don't know if the director was consciously doing it, but it is, you can see the similarities between the type of predator he is and the predator of the movie.
Dude, supposedly in part 3, there's like I don't know the details. This is just something that I read, but there's even like some kind of abuse coming from a father that could be viewed as excusing someone else's abuse that they do later. Like it's almost like whatever. I don't know. I'm talking about my ass. I don't know. I just read this. But yeah, it's kind of him like saying, "Hey, it's not that bad because of this that happened," or whatever. Then you're not the first person to say that there's a connection between his past.
Yeah,
and all 3 of these movies. But
it'd be wild if like the creeper showed up in like an ice cream truck for kids or something like that. Like,
oh god,
like really
they would really had to be hard R or something, bro. Like NC-17.
It's so sick though. Like all the subtext and stuff like that, man. Like Link said, it makes you wonder.
What do you guys think? I think as far as like we already talked, like the pacing of the movie really zips by. It's one of the most rewatchable movies ever. I really love the way like the story, I was about to say unfolds, but I don't know if unfolds is the right like term for this. It's just super organic. It's like, okay, we saw this, so let's go to the cop shop. Oh shit, he's at the cop shop. We're all gonna die, and we do. You know what I mean? It's like really like boom, 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 boom. It almost, everything just follows this road, just like you're saying, like a road trip movie. It really fits that format to the end, and that there's no happy ending. Like it's the ending to me is like a little abrupt. What I was gonna start by saying is like to me it feels top heavy. Like that first 30 minutes is the best of it, and I enjoy all the rest. But it's like it kind of ends abruptly, and there's not that eventful after the beginning part, just like him attacking, but it's still satisfying, but it's kind of, I don't know, it's like it's lacking something at the end.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I do think the movie is good at like you never really question, and a lot of horror movies you can kind of be like, man, that's so, I mean, the only stupid shit they really do is Justin Long at the beginning going that whole, but everything after that is kind of like, well, what do we do next? You know, when this event leads to the next situation. Not perfect. It is a little it kind of just seems like it comes out of nowhere. Like
it's like you think there's gonna be another step after the police station, but it's like, oh no. And that's why it's like, damn, we're at the police station. We're 55 minutes into the movie. There's 20 minutes or so left. It's like that's why the movie just feels like it's flying by. So at the same time, I like it. I like that it goes that quick.
No, I don't mind the pacing though. I think you have said it. This is like easily one of the most rewatched, and not in a bad way either. It's like, you know, it's that fine line where it's got good scares and good intrigue, but it doesn't overstay its welcome. And no, I enjoyed the pace quite a bit.
Yeah, I like the bit at the police station, man. Like all that, like on the radio, he's coming up to you. We got him in the stairwell, and like
the back check,
snatched. All that
he's wearing some kind of armor.
Exactly, and I really like the final scene just because like the batshit craziness of it. They didn't know what to do, and like that felt very real. Like that whole I get what you're saying about the abruptness of it, but
and I like it. You're right. I like the police station stuff.
Yeah, and I like the mystery. I like
the double glass scene, bro.
Yeah,
where his sister's on the.
Yeah, and it was dope seeing him like skinned and gutted and all of that.
Here's my theory, and this is after I'm telling you guys. I told you guys. I'll just quote myself in the back chat. I'm like, I know I'm a fucking terrible human being, but this chick's eye is distracting, and I know it's I know it's fucked up to bring it up again. I know it's fucked up to say it, but I'm just being real. But then, so I've got that in my head already. There's like a handful of times where it really does kind of take me out of the movie a little bit because it's like it's distracting. Gets to the end of the movie. We know what this creeper wants. He wants Justin Long's eyes. And she's like, take me. And I think the creeper's looking at her like, I'm not taking those eyes. Like, I'm definitely not taking those over Justin Long's eyes, dude. That's like, I honestly looked as like, does anybody ever said this online? And nobody has. So I'm like, fuck it, I have to bring this up.
She kind of reminded me of Eliza Dushku.
Yeah,
a little bit.
I'm trying to think of, or I was going to look at what else she was. I did look, and I didn't recognize her being anything else. But her name is Gina Phillips. Gina Phillips. She was in a movie called Chained. Yeah, this is about it.
Damn, that sucks. She wasn't bad though.
She was solid.
Definitely.
Like, definitely deserved more roles and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right, let's go ahead. Hold on. Sal's got something to say. Sal says, I like the cat lady trying to take him out with her shotgun.
That was a great little interlude, dude. I love that whole part of the story. That was so much like that. That's not my scarecrow or whatever. Like that kind of started the whole scarecrow, myth with the character and shit like that. That was so good.
Right.
Man, but I'll be honest. I'm like, she had more balls than me, bro, because she didn't trust them. She fucking and see who's the fuck did you bring in my house? God damn it! Goes right in there. No fucks given. Like, bro. I would have been like, "What's going on, everybody? On the ground now!" Like, yeah.
I love how it went from like she was creepy at first, and she was in the shadows, and you're like, "What's the deal with this lady?" To like, oh, she's got a fucking fighting hippies type spirit. Like,
I thought she was gonna be the psychic. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
I'm like, oh, this must be the lady from the phone. That could be. If you wanted to argue one more stupid decision that they make, it's stopping there. It's like they're like, well, we got to call someone. I would be like, well, Justin Long says he's like, we can just keep going. Like, let's just fucking keep going. I wouldn't have stopped. But all right, we had 15 minutes from now. Robbie's starting Curse of Frankenstein over on PCP. But go ahead, but I was gonna say, let's go ahead and wrap this bad boy up, rate this bad boy before we get up out of here.
Justin Long's his character, the whole problem was he never told she kept asking, and he was sitting there traumatized, understandably, but he never told her what he saw. Maybe he told her the sick shit he saw in the church basement or whatever, she would have taken heed to what he was saying a little bit more. Let's not fucking stop because we don't know what the fuck we just saw. Like, and you're talking about you saw bodies plastered on a wall and shit like that. Like, you're right. Let's keep going.
And that whole scene with the cop just pissed me off. Like the whole way the cop's demeanor, he's like, "You gotta understand what you're telling us." It's like, bro, I mean, come on. Right. Like, but at the same time, he's telling you there's a bunch of bodies down in the hole. It's not that fucking.
At least,
you gotta understand how much paperwork you're fucking talking about, dude. It's like, dude, all night, man. Bears are playing.
Do your job. Do your job, Jesus.
Oh, one more thing I was going to say that I just thought of. Oh, I love the shot, the whole bit in the car. I think this is one thing that I used to think was corny. The first time I saw it, like when he's jumping on the car and running over it, it's like something kind of really weird about that. But I have grown to really like it. But the thing I was going to point out was I love when the camera is like up with Justin Long and the sister, and then it's the same shot, and the camera goes back to the police car. And then they're talking, and then it comes back up to their car. I thought that was really, really slick and cool. And then just seeing them, they're playing the other version of Jeepers Creepers, which I like. I tried to find that and couldn't find it. and you've got the action going on in the background, and they're screaming over the music and everything. And it was like a really well done, chaotic, and just like a wild ass scene.
Yeah, that was super dope.
I love scenes like that where it's like two characters are fucking talking about whatever, and meanwhile in the like the peripheral in the background, or some crazy shit's going on, but they're so engaged that they don't realize the craziness. That's, I don't know if the name of if there's like a name for a scene like that, but I always
say Michael Myers because it's like a more ramped up version of Annie, Laurie's friend, talking, and then you look and Michael's in the back. Like there's a bunch of scenes in Halloween that I didn't notice like the first few times that I watched it. There's like so many times where Michael Myers
like templates.
In the background. And like it's people just playing off that idea, which reminds me of one other thing I wanted to say is like putting this in perspective with our Road to Halloween series. Like we left it off at Michael Myers. That's the first like sniff we get of a Creeper would have loved it, of a supernatural slasher villain. And it's like, and then that almost not that it became the template because there's not a shitload of them, but it became like what people think of in their mind as a slasher villain is that like, they're almost more animalistic. And that's kind of like the Creeper is even another step towards that. I think it's what makes him scarier. And that's kind of like where the genre went to is like humans are scary, but an animal that can move like a human and open doors and kind of think like a human is even scarier. Like we evolved to be scared shitless of animals. So I think that's like why it's so effective having this like kind of I was about to say cross.
You know what? The two movies that come to mind.
What up, Allison? Appreciate you.
Allison Troy. That kind of is speaking of like animal creatures imitating human stuff is like Mimic and Species. You know, fucking 90s films through and through. But yeah, I feel like there's something cool there, or like you said, like it's more animalistic, but they're imitating human like behavior and shit like that. That's scary.
It's like the fucking, this is kind of a stretch a bit, but like the raptors in Jurassic Park. Yeah. They're opening doors, but they're fucking velociraptors at the same time. They're the scariest thing of all time. All right, so let's rate this bad boy and get out this thing. The Missing Link. What you giving it, my dude?
You know, I'll give this one a strong, solid 4, man. I just, if nothing else, for like nostalgia, every time I watch this, I have a good time. Yeah, between the stupid shit the characters do, which isn't much, it's just really going down in that damn tube, the tunnel. But you know, it's a cool. If the director didn't have his history, I'm curious to see if like the Creeper would latch on into the popular zeitgeist more. Like there's something cool there behind him, and I'm curious to see if he would be like, if there's a throwdown between him and some of the other horror icons. Like even though he's not the most popular, like efficiency wise, I feel like he'd be able to hold his own quite a bit against like the Freddy's, Jason's, Arts.
He could do a lot. He can run the fuck over him, and like if you do that to Michael, it's gonna be a sequel till he comes back. This guy can come back 5-10 minutes later. So there is something to be said for that. And he can, if shit goes south, he could fly off. So you really, but downside is if he does go down, it's gonna be 23 years before he gets to come back for round 2. So there is that. Which I want to see how they explain that in the sequels. Now that I'm thinking about it, do these all happen within 23 days of the original? Are they pretending that 23?
No, they definitely. I think they shortened it in this sequel because Justin Long, and not to spoil too much, he makes a slight appearance, but it's him, but in a different way. But like they explain it that I guess from what I remember, I haven't seen the second one in a while, but Justin Long's sister and him, I guess they interrupted his cycle in the first one in some sort of way.
Okay.
So, or it's kind of like if he goes into hibernation and he's supposed to sleep a certain amount of time, but he can be woken up if disturbed, and you know he goes on a even more. So they bend the rules
a little bit.
Yeah,
which makes sense. You're gonna have to. Yeah. But all right, we got a 4 from the Missing Link. We have a 4 from Jace Hurd. What say you, Big Stu?
I'm right there at 4. Yeah, 4 out of 5. You know, it does so many things well. It was a joy to rewatch. It's a supremely rewatchable movie, I think. quite enjoyable. Great performances from Justin Long, the psychic. The creeper's cool. Some great scares. Yeah, Cat Lady. Some creepy ass moments. Director's a douchebag, and it's crazy that he was still making films all this time and wasn't put on blast, earlier. But here we are. But regardless, man, solid work of art. So 4 out of 5.
Hell yeah. So a 4 from Link, a 4 from Stu, 4 from Jay, so 3.75 from Sale. And I think I've been back and forth between like a 4.25 and a 4. So I'll land right there with you fellas at a 4, which is super surprising for me. Not super surprising, but it is. I was surprised at how much I enjoyed the thing. And it's also one of those. It falls into the pantheon. I'm saying this because I watched Child's Play with my 3-year-old today, which we'll be covering on PCT.
That's the best one to watch.
Right. It's as I'm watching it, I'm like, okay, I'll just cover her eyes when the shit really pops off. But it never really popped off. It was, I went to cover her eyes a couple times, and she was like, "Nah, I'm all right. I've got this, Dad." So it was cool. But this is
Child's Play with the Tyler is a dicey. That's a dicey roll right there, bro.
He's gonna be.
That's gonna go with Chucky.
I brought out the end of the living room, but I just sat it there.
You were diabolical, dog.
Yo,
basically, you have a controlled experiment with your daughter.
Yeah, there's levels. Levels.
I remember. This is the way I look at it. I remember watching it when I was like 5 years old, and she was been born. She was like in the bassinet, and I'm watching Terrifier in the background before she was. You know what I mean? So she's like raised in the. She was born to the dark, if you know what I mean.
It's so funny because like I remember talking to you about watching. My daughter's 13, and like 1 or 2 years ago, I watched Barbarian with her, which is crazy. But like I remember talking to you about it, and you're like, "Fuck yeah, dude, that's awesome." I had no idea how gung ho you were with the idea.
I remember I was really little watching all this shit. And don't get me wrong, I also remember being really afraid, but she sleeps in our bed every night. You know what I mean? She has a bed, she has a bedroom, but she sleeps with us every night. I remember being downstairs while my parents were upstairs and like looking at the window in my bedroom and thinking someone's gonna come get me, and like that's scary, but she doesn't have to
all
go
those random ass shadows that would build on some like random object. Yeah.
I've told my wife the kids can sleep in our bed. We're going to get a bigger bed when another one comes, and they can sleep there until high school, as long as they want. This is our bed. Because I do remember being, now that I look at it, that's probably why. I do remember being really afraid when I was really little in bed all alone. But probably because
we were raised in a very gritty era.
Right. Facts. It was Freddy and Jason and all that when I was like really fucking young. And Child's Play is kind of perfect. If you rewatch the first one, you might be like, all right, it's not that bad. Because it's pretty light.
That's why I was like the third, when you said the third, I was like, the perfect one for Maddie. Because like you said, it really wasn't many scenes that were like.
No, the first one. But even that one. And then the third one's a little bit worse. But Jeepers Creepers is perfect for like a 10-year-old. Or you know what I mean? Like the big thing is there's no titties. And I know that's a big plus for a lot of people. Nothing wrong. I like a titty as much as the next guy. But that's the stuff that's more uncomfortable to watch for kids. And, so it is nice that we have the Screams, we have the Jeepers Creepers, and the Child's Play series. Because I don't think there's really any titties in Child's Play either, now that I can think of it. They knew what they were doing. They knew a lot of kids were going to watch.
The craziest it ever get, the most uncomfortable probably be Bride of Chucky, just because of the doll and doll sex scene.
Yeah, it might be the best way to introduce a kid to it. All right, sit down. You're 13 now. Let's watch Brian. All right. Appreciate all you guys in the chat. Remember, Robbie is doing The Curse of Frankenstein right after this over on Pop Culture Philosophers. I didn't put together a slideshow with all the thumbs, but luckily I can tell you, first and foremost, we're giving away Jason masks, bro. We're giving away one to the winner of the trivia in the chat. We're talking The Howling, playing some trivia. I have a Saw. One more time. Let's blow me up. Got this Saw NECA figure right here. So if you win the trivia in the chat, and don't worry, Evan can't win. Evan, I love you to death. I love that Evan's like, I get
Fuck you, Evan.
Evan's like, you're right. I probably shouldn't win another one. So you might have a shot out there, folks. You have a shot.
Yay.
Even if you have regular ass speed internet, you have a shot. So it's gonna be fun, man. We're talking The Howlings, We're playing a couple segments of trivia. At least one new segment that we've never played, which I think is going to be pretty fun, pretty cool.
Ooh.
But I'm really excited about that. And after watching the Howling, I'm really excited to talk about it with you, gents. So that's going down on Thursday, 8 Central Standard Time. But tomorrow night, over on Fable Channel's One Collection Down, we're talking Necronomicon, which I'd never fucking heard of. And it turns out Amazon Prime had never heard of it. Fandango had never heard of it. Fucking YouTube's never heard of this thing, man. I had to go to the pirate sites to get this thing.
Who did this film?
It's Brian Usna, who was friends with Stuart Gordon. He's one of his producers, and it's another like H.P. Lovecraft adaptation. I think it's all 3 stories in this anthology or Lovecraft adaptations. It has Jeffrey Combs, who's the guy from Reanimator and From Beyond.
Yeah.
He plays H.P. Lovecraft in the wraparound story, which is pretty cool. He's got these fucking really annoying prosthetic nose and a prosthetic chin that just like irks my soul so bad, but it's still pretty cool to see him. And it's got some wild effects. Brian used it in Society. If you've ever seen Slither, from James Gunn at the end of Slither, they're basically reenacting the scene in Society, and like so it's like ooey gooey practical effects. He did Brian User did Return of the Living Dead 3 also, by the way.
Directed, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's great. I mean, he's a cool. That's the reason why I signed up for it. I was like, okay, cool. And it's so far I watched 2/3 of it, and it's so far it's pleased me.
Oh yeah.
It makes me want. I need to rewatch Slither for spooky season. I love that movie.
I do too. Yeah, I'd like to cover it.
Yo, speaking of Cthulhu, real quick, I watched this last night. I rewatched it, should I say? Underwater, solid little popcorn flick, man. Like that's a. I don't know. I thought it's got Kirsten Stewart in it, and she's doing her shiver. She's always fucking freezing.
What movie?
It's called Underwater. It's on Hulu right now.
Underwater.
It's about like an underwater drilling team. Like their fucking the station gets
this come on after Armageddon. Is this like
Armageddon? Yes, yeah. It's 2020. I think 2020 or 2021 it came out.
Okay.
It's pretty recent, but without telling you too much, it does involve like Cthulhu, Lovecraftian shit.
Okay,
cool.
We're checking out. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I can dig it, man. All right, appreciate all you gents in the chat. Really, you guys are awesome. Hope to see you on Thursday. Hell yeah, I'm right there.
Yeah, what up, bro?
Really hope to see you guys on Thursday.
Yeah.
To win a mask, man. I want to ship out a mask to one of you people that I see all the time in the chat. So appreciate you guys. Go check out Curse of the Werewolf over on Pop Culture Philosophers, and we'll see you on Thursday for The Howling. And those things over at Dr. Dude's fan club. Go check that out. Sorry.
No, you're good, dude. You're good.